This is Suzanne Wagner, and I'm doing my Numerology and Astrology for the 30th of October, 2022. If you add all those numbers together, you get the number 10, and if you add the 1 and the 0 together, you can also get the number 1. So today is the number 1 or the number 10. In life, we often have choices as to what we are going to do moving forward. We can take each number and fall into the weaknesses of that number, or embrace the more powerful actions initiated by that number. And sometimes we can see the weaknesses as strengths and consciously move them in ways that allow for a more complex dance to begin. Let's play with that idea for a moment. The weakness of the number 1 is being a victim, but we could easily shift this into conscious vulnerability. Vulnerability can be active rather than passive. We can decide in certain moments that the best course of action is to step out of ego and into a more authentic expression. Often the key to make that choice consciously, safely, and constructively is the best way. When we move from our authentic core, it can open others to do the same. And from that place, honesty is revealed, vulnerabilities are seen, and we let go of what we thought we knew and become more on the same page with others. Too often in life, egos lead us around. Trying to be someone we are not is exhausting. Learning acceptance means also to be able to accept ourselves, flaws and all, quirks and all, wounds and all. But we can take the number 10 and do the same. The ego position of the number 10 is a know-it-all, a person who believes they are always right. There are warriors that hold power on the outside. They can be arrogant, righteous, petulant, and stubborn. But such souls really have no power, but only intend to manipulate others into giving them theirs. There are also warriors that hold power on the inside. When we have walked difficult paths, we let go of what is unnecessary, and we learn to care less about what others think, and instead care more about being able to live with ourselves, our choices, our actions, and our words. Those souls are not trying to impress anyone. They do what they believe is right, and they make choices that support kindness, careful consideration, and healthy interactions. Today, step towards authenticity rather than those stories that play you as a victim. Life is rough for everyone. We will all have moments when terrible things will seem to want to break us. It is okay to break. That is part of life. We then learn that egos will always be broken down by life because they are not real, and they have been made up by our human weaknesses that we refuse to acknowledge. Best to be vulnerable and open. Pretense is a waste of energy and time, and it will never give you what you want in the end. Today, claim that spiritual warrior within. Let go of needing to be right and to act as if you have all the answers. There is way too much out there. There is way too much out there for any of us to understand in one lifetime. That is why we keep coming back. Instead, be a soul who is comfortable in their own skin. Know that regardless of what happens, your soul will find the answers to the important questions you seek. Step away from those that are trying to prove that they are the best, brightest, smartest, bravest, and most successful. Be willing to find the bigger answers to who you are right now. That doorway does not go out into the world, but into the magic within that is leading us through this current incarnation. The astrology today. Today is a day when the moon calls for common sense to rule. A Capricorn moon wants to help us find the course that will lead us to go forward. It will do that in a way that is more about what is needed and necessary than what is flashy and ego-fulfilling. Mars is officially in retrograde in the communication-ruled sign of Gemini. I expect the rhetoric to get crazy, nasty, intentionally deceptive, and overtly passive-aggressive for this upcoming election. Those that intend to misconstrue are going to initiate plans to conflate the masses. Keep a cool head. If you know you are being used as a pawn, or potentially a weapon, then you are ahead of their game. Be smarter than the egos that love controlling people and making mayhem. Give them nothing that they can hook into you to pull you into the way they want. This Mars retrograde asks us to look at what is on our plate and try a different approach to getting it. The direct way will only blow up in your face, It might be better to go around people rather than through them. A Mars retrograde can make some feel as if emotions are all bottled up inside. Things can feel more personal when they are not. The choices seem uncertain, and we may hesitate rather than respond. It can feel as if too many things are not in the normal flow. We feel disrupted and off-center. Anger can linger below the surface, and any unresolved tensions, resentments, negativity, and fear may bubble up. We are now looking at those things that we deem as absolutes. Perhaps the beliefs we have now need to change. Perhaps we have finally outgrown some patterns designed to protect ourselves. We need to understand where we come from. Only then can we find the doorway to a life that is freer and more open to the spontaneous choices that could be possible. We may also notice that we need more sleep. This planet is a planet of energy and drive. When it is retrograde, we need to fill back up those places where we store life force. Emotionally and physically, we are moving into new places. Such things take a lot of energy. While that is good, integration requires rest. It will become clear as this retrograde continues that what we have had in our past is now not what we actually want for our future. That future is moving into form. While it is not yet a clear picture, we are looking at our options and possibilities. Thanks, everyone.